Hello and welcome back to Trust Me, I'm a Philosopher, where we talk about trust, what it is, why it matters, and how to build it. And today we're going to have a little bit of a think about where trust comes from and why it makes sense for trust to develop. When we think about it, the development of trust might seem slightly strange. After all, most theorists who are interested in trust will say that it requires us making ourselves vulnerable. So if you think about any kind of a case where you're trusting someone, perhaps you're trusting someone to look after your drink. Fundamentally, in that kind of a situation, you're making yourself vulnerable to them. After all, if that person who's looking after your drink decides to poison you nefariously, then they'll be able to do so when you're not paying any attention because you're trusting them. Now, if we think back to the early development of human beings, folks wandering around plains, early proto-societies, it really isn't clear why you would suddenly start trusting folks. Why would you trust someone who comes along and who you meet for the first time when you could just keep things to yourself? So where does it come from? Isn't that just a little bit strange? Now, in order to try and make sense of this, we're going to have a play of a game. I think the game is really fun. It exists on a website that I'll link to in the notes for the episode. And I absolutely encourage you to go and have a look at the game for yourself, have a play, to really explore some of the things in here about how exactly trust develops. Okay, let's have a little bit of a play. Okay, so here we are. The game is The Evolution of Trust by Nikki Case in 2017. Thank you very much to Nikki for making the game in the first place. As Nikki makes clear in the text, kind of interested in the famous and possibly apocryphal case, Christmas 1914 on the Western Front. Despite orders not to fraternise, allegedly British and German soldiers got out of their trenches, crossed no man's land, and exchanged gifts, played games, buried their dead, and so on. So they trusted each other in these kinds of scenarios. Okay, so here we've got it, the game of trust. The idea is that there's us over here, and then our opponent over here on this side, and we have a choice as to whether or not to cheat or cooperate. So let's say that the other player cheats and doesn't put a coin in, then what should I do? Well, if they cheat and don't put a coin in and I choose to cooperate, okay, here I lose out really badly. If I cooperate and they cheat, I lose a coin and they gain 3. So this is represented by the score -1 versus 3 in this box here. However, if we both cheat, then neither of us gain or lose. So score 0-0, therefore presumably I should cheat. But now let's imagine instead of them cheating, they actually choose to cooperate and put a coin in. What should I do now? Let's say that I cheat. Well, it's been described as mean, but the correct answer. If we both cooperate, as you can see from this top box here, we both get 2 coins. That's great. But if I cheat and they cooperate, then I get all 3 coins again, as represented over here by this box. So therefore, I should, in inverted commas, still cheat if I want to maximise my returns. And this might feel a little bit like a dilemma, because what this makes really, really apparent is that by trusting people, we make ourselves vulnerable to them. Okay, so if we go back to the box, if my opponent cooperates and I cheat, they make themselves vulnerable, they lose, I gain. Right? That's a difficulty. But on the other hand, if we both cooperate, then we both benefit. It feels like there's something a little bit odd going on in here. But what I think is really elegant about this game, and what it really forces us to think about, is what happens when we start to play multiple rounds of the game. So let's move through it. So the idea is I'm going to play against 5 different opponents. Each has their own strategy. And with each, I'll play between 3 and 7 rounds. But I won't know in advance which the last round is. So can I trust them? What should we do? Okay, I'm going to start off with this guy. I'm going to cooperate. What happens? Okay, they cooperated 2. We both get 2 coins. I'll cooperate again. That went well last time. Okay, fantastic. Everyone's doing well. On to a winning strategy. Why change something that's working? Fabulous. We're doing well. This time, yeah, I'll cooperate again. Why not? Amazing. Got to 8. Okay, this time I'm going to cheat. I'm going to see if I can get 3 coins this time. Haha, got them. Good. Okay, so there's the first one gone. Okay, so second opponent, little purple-hatted chap turned up. What should we do here? Well, cooperating by and large worked, so let's try again. Okay, he's cheated. That hasn't gone well. So this guy cheats, all right. Okay. So this person's cheated twice in a row. And now, right, so this person's just going to cheat. Right. So I'm just going to keep cheating, and we're done there. All right, now I didn't actually gain very much in that game against the person who cheated all the time. So let's start off again with cooperating. How do we do here? Okay, so both cooperated. We've both done well. Well, let's see what happens. Yeah, good. Okay. All right, we're doing well. Keep cooperating, keep doing all right. I'm going to sneakily throw in a... No, I couldn't throw in a cheat at the end there. But okay, the cooperation strategies worked, so let's keep cooperating. This is going well. Let's do one more. We're going to cheat the next time. Here we go. Yep. I've got them again. I suspect that they might rumble me now, so let's just keep cheating. Yeah. All right. And then back to the cooperation strategy. Seemed to go well. And we'll just cooperate, I think, now. Oh, they cheated. Well, let's cheat back then. Good. And let's just keep cheating now. Because I don't trust them not to. Because once they've cheated me, I think they're going to cheat me again. All right, there we go. So I've got a score of 34, which apparently is pretty good. Delighted by that. And we can see the different characters we were actually playing against there. So the blue-hatted one with the copycat just does the same thing as us all the time. The little purple-hatted chap always cheats. Pink hat always cooperates. If I'd known that, I would have cheated more. The grudger starts cooperating and will keep cooperating, but if they cheat, if you cheat to them, they'll keep cheating. And then the detective, who looks like they'll be trying to suss out your strategy. Okay, now one of the cool things is you can then get these players to play against each other. So let's see what happens here. All right, so we've got a tournament. Each character going to play against every other character. 10 paired matches, 10 rounds per match. Who do I think is going to get the highest total score? Let's go top left. Copycat. So how does Copycat get on? All right, does not that great against Always Cheat. But Always Cooperate, of course, just keeps copying the cooperation and so does really well. Excellent. Against Grudger. Yeah, again, no reason. Grudger doesn't have any reasons to distrust us, so we do pretty well there. Copycat versus Detective. Again, we do all right there. And then Always Cheat. Okay, so then other people start playing each other. We'll see all of this roll through. And who wins? Copycat wins. So this is, as it says on the screen, this is copycatting. The golden rule, reciprocal altruism, live and let live. The idea is where you're playing these kinds of games, just copying the other person, just reciprocating, looks like a really sensible strategy when things are set up in this way. So that's really, really cool, right? But now what happens if we play multiple iterations of these games? So the idea is you get your bunch of characters, you make them play against each other and tally up the scores. Whoever's done the worst, the 5 players who've done the worst, get rid of them and reproduce players from the hats, the characters who've done the best. Okay, so up on the screen, I think it all makes sense. Let's see who wins. So I'm team Copycat, so I'm going to stay here. So as you can see, we've got 15 Always Cooperates, 5 Always Cheats, 5 Copycats, and it's a tournament-style elimination. I'm going to go with Copycat. So let's see what happens. Play the tournament. Okay, so eliminate the bottom 5, as you can see. Looks like Always Cheats done pretty well there, which is a bit alarming for me. Eliminate bottom 5, reproduce top 5. Play again. Again, Always Cheat is doing well. This is looking bad for me. And again. Okay, now Copycat and Always Cheat tied. So we're probably going to get rid of Always Cooperate here. Reproduce. Okay, now it's a straight head-to-head. Always Cooperate against Always Cheat. What's going to happen? All right, now notice what's happened here. This is the first time where we're going to start to see things go a bit better, I think, for Copycat. Copycat's going to suss out that Always Cheat is always cheating, right? Because Always Cheat will just cheat every time. Copycat will simply copy them. So you're just going to get that 0-0. No one's going to get anything out of each other in those head-to-head games. But notice that the copycats are scoring incredibly well now, because in some of those cases they're able to cooperate and to generate mutual benefit. So all the people we're getting rid of are cheats, all the people we're putting back in are copycats, and now this is going to iterate, and now the always cheats simply aren't going to be able to accrue the kinds of benefit that always cooperate are. So again, eliminate, reproduce, play the tournament, eliminate, reproduce. And of course, this is a perpetual trust game, right? So think about two communities of people actually out there in the world. One group of people who always copy one another, right? So they'll copy you if you're a kind of a cooperating person. They'll copy you. If you're a cheat, they'll copy you. Those people will simply outperform the people who just try to cheat everyone else. This is what we're seeing work out in action. And so if you think about it from a kind of an evolutionary perspective, it's kind of unsurprising that this practice of cooperating where others cooperate with you, don't cooperate where others don't cooperate with you, is something that makes sense because it's leading to all sorts of advantages. So again, play, eliminate, reproduce, and the copycats have won. There we go. Fantastic result. And we can see the same kind of thing if we put the other characters back in, and I'll let the game run. Again, copycats are going to do really, really well. Grudges will get stuck in there. Fantastic. So, as it says on the screen, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It may not just be a moral idea. Actually, it looks like there's a mathematical underpinning to it in these kinds of cases that really justifies us taking it, which is really cool. Okay, so how then do we get distrust coming about? All right, so let's go back then to a game where we've got always cooperates apart from one copycat and one cheat, and let's see what happens. So we play the game, we let it run through, and again, copycats are going to do really well. Okay, fine, we've got that. Now it's playing 10 rounds per match, but what happens if we take that down to 4? So rather than it being that kind of extended game where you have multiple opportunities to cooperate, multiple opportunities to cheat, we're just going to take it down to 4 now, just 4 opportunities. So we'll reset and we'll replay. Now, as you can see, pretty much immediately, always cheat has wiped everyone else out. And that's because the copycatting strategy hasn't had enough time to generate those really positive benefits when the copycatting groups are copycatting each other. You're simply getting hit and hurt by the always cheats. Now we can play this out into our thinking in society a little bit. Because if you've got communities of people who are living alongside each other, who are engaging with each other on a repeated basis, copycatting, so doing unto others as they do unto you, is a really good strategy, and it will lead to all sorts of benefits to everyone. If you're getting really limited numbers of interaction, it looks like the cheats win. And there's a nice stat that's thrown up on the screen at this point. And this is that in 1985, when Americans were asked how many close friends they had, the most common answer was 3. In 2004, that was 0. And the worry behind all of this is that we're not getting those repeat interactions in society in the same kinds of way. And of course, what that demonstrates, what that leads to, is that the cheats win. Okay, as it says though, that things can get a little bit worse. So we had this matrix set up for the cooperation and cheat rewards. But if we take down that cooperation benefit just a little bit from +2 to +1, so still some reason to cooperate, and then we run it, well, what you'll start to see now is that, again, the always cheat looks like it wins. And again, because the incentives aren't big enough, so you don't get enough payoff for the always for the copycat, so it looks like the always cheat is going to win. And when you click on the link and you go and explore the website, you should absolutely have a play with these different levels of incentives for yourself, because I think it's really cool to have a look at. Now, the game goes on, there's all sorts of other stuff that's going on in there, and I'll leave you to have a play. What I think is really, really nice though, is that it illustrates that if those initial settings are right, if the risks and the rewards and the benefits and the costs are set up in the right kinds of way, and you're in a situation where you're going to have repeat opportunities to cooperate, repeat opportunities to interact, The game really beautifully, elegantly illustrates why trusting, or at least why trusting appropriately in that kind of copycatting sort of way, is a really excellent strategy. And I think that's just a really fun way to explore how trust works, how vulnerability works, how payoffs can work in these kinds of situations. That's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and do be sure to go and check out the website for the game that we've been playing. Until next time, stay suitably copycatting trusting, provided your trust game is long enough.